play this record as frequently as possible.
Hey everyone, it's me, Mr. G. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to episode 14 of Pickups of the Week, a weekly show where we look at all the games I found out in the wild, going into my collection, and going into the game room. So this week was kind of slow. I did find some pretty cool stuff, but it wasn't anywhere near as good as the rest of the weeks I've had this year. But there were some pretty cool stuff. Even this morning, I actually found a yard sale, and I found some pretty cool stuff at a yard sale today. So anyway, let's have a look at what I found this week. Let's jump into it. So, let's have a look at what I found at the yard sale this morning. So I went to Aldi to go get some groceries this morning. On the way back, there was a yard sale, and I walked in, and there was these two guys that walked in front of me, and there was a whole box of strategy guides. Now, I really enjoy collecting strategy guides because you don't get them anymore. And guess what? Strategy guides are actually worth quite a bit of money now. I've found strategy guides at Goodwill, and I've sold them for a lot of money. These guys walked in and they went straight to the box and they started grabbing all the strategy guides, and I was just like, oh, these guys are going to take them all. It sucks. But there were a few they left behind, and I was actually surprised with the ones they left behind. So anyway, I grabbed some, and the guy wanted $2 a strategy guide, which is really, really good. And there's some pretty good ones in here. First one was Chaos Legion. I actually don't even know what game this is. I don't even know what system that's on. I believe it's Xbox 360, but I'm not too sure. So that's a pretty cool strategy guide. This is a really, really cool one. Super Mario Advance 3 for the Game Boy Advance. That's a really, really cool strategy guide to have. This is another great one. Advance Wars 2 for the Game Boy Advance. These are really, really cool strategy guides. Game Boy Advance game strategy guides are really, really cool. And then I think I have this one. When I got home, I was like, wait, I think I have this already. And it's Final Fantasy X2. But this is the limited edition strategy guide. I don't think I have this one. I think I've just got the regular one. So that's also pretty cool. And then the best of the bunch is Jet Force Gemini for the Nintendo 64. The strategy guide for that. That's really, really cool. You never see Nintendo 64 strategy guides anymore. So it's really, really cool to get that. That's going to go in the collection for sure. The rest I might sell on eBay because, as I said, strategy guides actually sell really, really well at the moment. And then on, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, I went into Goodwill and they actually had something. I was like quite surprised. They actually had something really, really good. So anyway, here's a video of that. Yeah, so sitting on the shelf was Mario Kart Double Dash for the Nintendo GameCube Black Label. So what happened is I actually went through the entire shelf and I saw nothing, and I was about to leave, and I came back and I did one more look, and this was sitting on the shelf that way, and I grabbed the thing and I looked and I was like, oh my gosh, Mario Kart Double Dash, because this is going for like $70 now, because GameCube games are going up in price. Mario Kart's always worth a fortune, and this one's actually worth $70 now. So I grabbed it and I was like, no way the disc is inside. Somebody grabbed the disc. So I opened it up and there was the disc inside. Unfortunately, it's missing the manual, but still, as it is, that's a $70 game. So really, really cool to find that in Goodwill. So yeah, I can get $70 for this all day. And then, if you saw in the other video, I went to the front and they had a whole bunch of NES games and Super Nintendo games sitting there. They were all sports titles. There was nothing great, but they did have this game, the NES game sitting there. It says Super Games, 150 games in one. Obviously, it's a reproduction cartridge. It's like a knockoff cartridge. But it has 150 games. It does work, so I'm going to add that to the collection. It's not worth anything, but that's still pretty cool to add to the collection. So I picked that up in Goodwill. And then I think it was on Wednesday, I went to another Goodwill and I actually found some more games in there too. Here's a video of that. Yeah, so they had a whole bunch of games in the front. There wasn't really anything good, but there was one game I got, and that is Rengoku for the PSP. I've never heard of this game. I have no idea what this game is. But I love collecting for the PSP, as you know. So that was sitting in the front, so I picked that up for the collection. I think I have over 100 PSP games now. It's actually quite crazy how many PSP games I have. Never heard of this game, so that's going in the collection. It is complete. It's actually in really, really good condition. So that was a pretty cool find. It's not worth a lot of money, but it is going into the collection. And then that was basically it for Goodwill and yard sales this week. So if you've been following my channel, you know last week I talked about going to this new game store in Burbank, and I had a whole bag of games that I wanted to trade, and they offered me $22, and I was like, no way, forget it. So I think on Thursday I went to my local game store in Sunset Boulevard, the one I always talk about. I took the same exact bag of games. Guess what? They gave me $70 store credit. I mean, that's why I go to them, because they know what it's worth. They don't try to rip you off. So anyway, they gave me $70 store credit, and I ended up picking a Complete in Box Nintendo 64 game, and it's actually a really, really good one. I'm really stoked to add this to the collection, and that is Killer Instinct Gold for the Nintendo 64, Complete in Box. This is a really, really good game to add to the collection. Really, really stoked to add that Complete in Box to my collection. It is like an $85 game. I think I put in like $5 or something after my store credit. So that is really, really cool. That's going in the collection. Really, really cool to add that. Funny thing is that I actually found a copy of this game many years ago in a yard sale for like $1. It's in a really bad condition, and the actual part inside, it doesn't play it. I've never been able to get it to work, so I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. It must be worth something to somebody, so I'm either gonna list it on eBay, it's not working, or maybe take it to my game store to trade. So I'm adding a Complete in Box game to my collection, and I have the loose cartridge which I'm going to sell. And then the very, very last pickup of the week. So I actually won this on eBay. I always tell you guys I don't like to pay much for my games. I like to find them out in the wild. But there was a Nintendo GameCube that I've been searching many, many years for, and I actually won an auction. I ended up paying $40 for it. It is really high. That's a lot of money. I don't like to spend that much on games. But I thought to myself, I've been searching so long for this. I've never seen this game in any game stores. I never see it on GameStop.com. So I really wanted to add it to collection. I did have a bit of money lying around, so I thought, no, I'm just gonna treat myself to a game this week, and I did. It is a $50 to $60 game, so I did win it for cheaper than it is, and that is Beyond Good and Evil for the Nintendo GameCube. I love this game. I did finish it on a Nintendo GameCube. You never hear people talk about this game. It is available on the Xbox, I believe, the original Xbox. But this is a game that I wanted in my collection for a long time. It is Complete in Box. It is in really, really good condition. So I was really stoked to add this to my collection. And the way the Nintendo GameCube is going at the moment, and the way prices are going up, I have a feeling that this game is actually going to shoot up in price very soon. I think a lot of people are going to start looking for this game. So I wanted to get it now before it goes up in price. So this is probably the most expensive game I've spent in a long time. I never spend that kind of money in games, but I really wanted this in my collection. So I won that on eBay, and that's going into the collection this week. So I did have an okay week, not too bad. I did add a few games to the collection this week, some pretty cool games. Another complete Nintendo 64 game. I can sell this for $70 and make back my money for Beyond Good and Evil, so I'm not too worried that I spent it on Beyond Good and Evil. And then today, some really cool strategy guides. So it was a slower week compared to the rest, but I still did find some pretty cool games this week. Not too bad. Another thing I found a good one, I know it's not game related, but it's actually worth quite a bit of money, and I've actually been rewatching it. I thought I'd just mention it. The series from the 90s called The Critic. I found the DVD box set in Goodwill. I was actually going to list it on eBay, but I've been watching it this week. It's really funny, so I also picked that up. I mean, it was a couple of bucks. It's not really game related, but I thought, let me just mention it. So yeah, that was what I picked up for this week. As I said, it's not one of the best weeks I've had, but I still did find some pretty cool stuff. So anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed watching the video this week. Give my video a like, subscribe. I'm Mr. G. I'm out.